Well, yeah, I mean, for me, I don't think it was huge leaps. I mean, because I come out of the whole story aspect and things like that, and story's always been difficult. So this is just another movie with brand new challenges. And whenever you do another movie, it's like you've never done one before, because the challenges are always different and new, you know? So it's always going to be difficult no matter what. It's not like this film's any bigger than the last one I was just on. So that's how I kind of was approaching it.
I do think we've been preparing all of our careers, because we've been working on feature films for so many years, about 20 years each on feature films. So everything we've done has prepared us for this, and we've been honing our skills. But I think there's nothing like living with these characters. You know, I think as director and producer, and having the kind of what we feel is the ultimate responsibility to our audiences. It's still collaborative because we have our executive producers and our director colleagues that we can go to. But there's, I think, a feeling of like true ownership here that we felt the entire time, that we took very seriously, and really wanting to do the very best that we could for our audiences and for our crew.
Yeah, it's all on our shoulders. This one, you know, and that has a very different feeling,
different kind of pressure
than the previous movies. I had been. Brenda Chapman came up with the idea and was developing it, and from the very beginning, when she had the idea, I kind of discovered, you know, Brave, and was talking to her about it, and I was, you know, very much steeped in Scottish history and medieval history and the Celtic mythos. So I kind of like, if anything you need, I'm here as a resource for you as a consultant. So I was kind of on as an unofficial kind of all things Scottish and Celtic consultant. Went on the research trip back in 2006. It was kind of an in-house guide with our other fantastic guides. So I think that when the director change happened and Brenda was handing it off, I was just the natural choice, because we had had a relationship, and I had a history with the film. So that was just the logical decision.
The Pixar belief is that, you know, you are what you direct, and you direct who you are. And so when it comes to an ancient Scottish, you know, warrior kingdom family dynamic, this is the name that comes to mind, Mark Andrews, because, you know, he taught every one of us how to shoot an arrow. Every one of our animators learned sword fighting from him, and, you know, you even took your honeymoon in Scotland, so he really knows the subject very, very well.
Right. Well, it's really investigating, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about our human condition. It's all about what makes us who we are, you know. And at the heart of this story is you have that parent-child relationship, and you have this child that's transitioning between adolescence and adulthood. So it's a very, very dynamic time. And, you know, both sides have to learn something. Maturity is a choice, right? So Merida has to make this choice. So how does somebody make that choice? And she's, you know, she has to, you know, own up to her frailties and her mistakes ultimately, right? To say, I was wrong. That's the level of maturity right then and there, right? But for the parent, I mean, we're both parents, and to see our children, we want to protect them and make sure that they don't get hurt. But getting hurt is the thing that made me who I am, and made Katherine, and made you. I mean, we learn from these lessons. So the parent has a hard role too, about stepping back and just being in a support role and letting your child fail, because that's going to make them what they are. So, I mean, that's really important, just to get in there. And as a storyteller, that's really juicy, dynamic stuff. And that's where heart and character all kind of come from, versus the superficial idea of just she's a princess who doesn't want to get married. That's like, nah, that's just for the stakes of the film. But the real stakes is this human exploration. Well, we have an opportunity in Brave that she was a princess, because that's part of the storytelling, to say, well, what kind of princess are we going to make, right? This princess has her family, right? She's not, she doesn't have, you know, most of the princesses are, you know, don't have one of the parents. You know, they're down and out and they need to be saved. We're saying this princess doesn't need to be saved. She's not searching for a happily ever after. She is the cause of her problems, and she is the solution to her own problems, and that was very important.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way you could see anti-princess as well. She doesn't look the part because she's wearing this adventurous clothes, dark colors, and she's all dirty and she's out in the woods. But to me, the anti-princess has more to do with the classic sort of Disney princess that we grew up with, and we love those stories. But there's this perfection about them, you know. And here we have in Merida a flawed heroine. She makes mistakes. She can't even get along with her mother, and she really messes up. So she's not perfect. In fact, she's quite fallible, and she has to solve her problems herself. She's not waiting for someone to rescue her. She doesn't have a magical ability. She has to save herself and her kingdom. So in that way, she's very much the anti-princess.